Sometimes it only takes one player to win your fantasy league. Today, that's exactly what we're trying to identify. 5 breakout players in fantasy football 2025 that have league-winning upside. Let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into our 5 breakout players in 2025 fantasy football. First on my list is the rookie running back that I believe is sliding under the radar. All the attention's on Ashton Jeanty at the end of the first round. But I think Amarion Hampton provides a very appealing ceiling in fantasy, especially where he's going in fantasy drafts. You're getting him 30 picks behind Ashton Jeanty, and I believe this Chargers backfield is set up to crush in 2025. We already know Hampton's a supremely talented running back, gets the first round draft capital in the 2025 NFL draft, and he absolutely deserved it. 90% college dominator rating, his performance off the charts the last 2 seasons at North Carolina. Over 1,500 rushing yards, 15 rushing touchdowns. Oh yeah, and he sprinkles in some receiving upside as well. So he's a do-it-all running back at 6 feet, 220 pounds. He's got the elusiveness. He has the power to be a goal line running back. The great thing about Amarion Hampton, it's not just the talent that we love. The situation in Los Angeles, so good. He steps into a lead back role with Najee Harris currently on the NFL non-football injury list from a fireworks accident. And we've seen Najee Harris in Pittsburgh the last couple of seasons. Dude is so inefficient. He's just been relying on so much volume. But if we look at what Mike Clay has projected for Najee Harris this year, it's 520 rushing yards. That is less than what Tyler Algier and Trey Benson are projected for this year. And we know exactly where they're going in fantasy. They're strictly handcuffed running backs. And that's all Najee Harris is going to be for Los Angeles. This Greg Roman and Harbaugh offense, they are so run heavy. Over the past 5 years, Greg Roman's offenses have been top 5 in rush percentage. Last year, they were at near a 50-50 split run to pass, which is important because league average is trending towards that 60% pass average. So a very run-heavy offense behind a top 10 projected offensive line in Los Angeles. They have the great offensive line. They have the run-heavy offense. They have a good quarterback to keep that offense moving in Justin Herbert. Hampton is poised to be a potential league winner. Last year in this Chargers offense, we saw J.K. Dobbins go for over 900 rushing yards in only 13 games. And the Chargers said, hey, we know what we have in Dobbins. We're willing to let him walk to Denver and draft a round 1 running back in Amarion Hampton that provides a ceiling like we haven't seen in this Chargers backfield since Melvin Gordon and Austin Eckler were going in the first round of fantasy drafts. I think Amarion Hampton is slotted to be a league-winning running back in the 3rd to 4th round of fantasy drafts. I love the talent. I love the situation. I love the offense. Amarion Hampton is one of my favorite picks in fantasy this year. My next player, Marvin Harrison Jr. We talked about him earlier in the offseason, but I still think he's a great candidate to break out this year. Now, some people will say that Marvin Harrison Jr. had a disappointing rookie year, and those people are probably the ones that drafted him at the 1-2 turn in fantasy football drafts last year. But I'm here to say the rookie season for Marvin Harrison Jr., while it didn't live up to where you were drafting him in fantasy, it wasn't as bad as people are making it out to be. Let's remember this. Coming into the NFL, Marvin Harrison Jr. was compared to CeeDee Lamb from a talent perspective. That was the guy that he reminded scouts of most in the National Football League. And let's look at CeeDee Lamb's rookie season. CeeDee goes for 110 targets, 930 receiving yards to go along with 5 touchdowns. And Marvin Harrison Jr.'s rookie year is very similar to CeeDee's production in year 1. He goes for 116 targets, even more targets than CeeDee Lamb, 885 yards, and 8 touchdowns, 3 more than what CeeDee produced in his rookie season. Now, we're not exactly comparing apples to apples, but this is just to show you Harrison's rookie season just isn't as bad as some people make it out to be. I think this guy, a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, still has an immense ceiling that we need to be looking into with this Arizona Cardinals offense. They are a top 10 projected offense in 2025 with MHJ, Trey McBride, and Kyler Murray. We've seen Kyler Murray be a top 5 fantasy quarterback with the likes of DeAndre Hopkins years ago. Marvin Harrison Jr. profiles to be that alpha wide receiver. This team makes 0 additions to the wide receiver room. They have full confidence. They have the guys on this offense that can produce alongside Kyler Murray. And it's not very surprising. MHJ's efficiency metrics were pretty impressive in his rookie season. He was top 10 in air yards, top 10 in deep targets, and top 10 in total route wins. So the guy's winning on his routes. He had the 3rd best win rate versus man coverage. So he's getting open. The chemistry just wasn't there in year 1. between his quarterback. I expect that to change. I expect defenses to be keying in on Trey McBride more this season, which should open up Marvin Harrison Jr. on the outside. Maybe they move MHA to a power slot role. I think this Arizona Cardinals offense is poised to break out. The schedule is beautiful for this team as well. Top 10 favorable schedule for Marvin Harrison Jr. at the wide receiver position. He's too talented not to provide in fantasy. Now you're getting a 2-round discount where he was going last year in his rookie season. His first snaps in the NFL. The bar might have been just set too high in year one for Marvin Harrison Jr. I'm going to take that 2-round discount and bank on a bounce-back breakout performance for this young, talented wide receiver in the desert. Another year 2 wide receiver also taken in the first round of the NFL draft in 2024. Ricky Pearsall is my number 3 breakout candidate. Now, some people might be scared off of the injury coming into training camp. Definitely something we have to monitor, but all indications are he is going to be practicing this upcoming week. And as long as he's practicing, I have full confidence he's good to go. This isn't a Christian McCaffrey scenario from last year where they say he's going to be good for week 1 and then ends up not playing. Ricky Pearsall should be practicing very soon. He's already running individual drills. I think some people are overlooking the talent profile of Ricky Pearsall. San Francisco, obviously confident in his ability with the trading of Deebo Samuel to Washington. Obviously, Deebo looked like trash at the end of last year, but they kind of gave Ricky Pearsall a 2-week tryout last year. In those 2 final weeks of the regular season, he was averaging 9 targets, 7 catches, and over 105 receiving yards to go along with a touchdown in each of these past 2 games. Now, it's an incredibly small sample size. I'm not going to say we can rely strictly on these numbers, but when we bake that in the fact that how talented of a guy Ricky Pearsall is coming out of Florida, and the fact that this wide receiver room is decimated with the departure of Deebo, the injury of Brandon Ayuk. Coming off that devastating knee injury, we don't know exactly where Brandon Ayuk stands heading into the season. And I think Ricky Pearsall, even if Brandon Ayuk is healthy, he profiles to be that underneath Deebo Samuel role, whereas Brandon Ayuk is going to be on the outside competing with Juwan Jennings. I think Pearsall's role is safe in this offense. And let's not forget, this San Francisco 49ers offense is being priced at the top of the league. They're projected to have a bounce-back year and be a top 10 offense this upcoming season. Considering this was a wide receiver dealing with a shooting prior to the start of last year, doesn't get work in training camp, and he's still able to produce at the end of the year. This guy was nearly averaging 2 yards per route run, which is a very impressive number. As long as he's healthy heading into the start of the year, Ricky Pearsall is one of my favorite late round targets in fantasy drafts. My next breakout candidate, another rookie running back, Kaleb Johnson, and he's being priced as one of the cheaper rookie running backs heading into 2025 fantasy drafts. And it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. I think Kaleb Johnson is going to have a massive workload immediately for the Steelers offense. He's splitting first-team reps with Jaylen Warren, but that's no surprise. I mean, they're always going to give the veteran running back first team at the start of camp at least. We know this Arthur Smith offense in Pittsburgh is going to pound the football into the ground. They have a top 5 run percentage in the league last year. Najee Harris, who departs Pittsburgh, had the 7th most carries in football last year. We know Najee Harris, we already talked about it, not very efficient running back, but they were feeding him the ball nonstop, even though the production wasn't that impressive. Kaleb Johnson, if he steps in as a younger, shiftier back with the workload we project him to get, maybe he can give us a top 12 finish at the running back position. Let's not forget, Aaron Rodgers comes to Pittsburgh. He's not the quarterback he used to be, but Aaron Rodgers has supported a top 20 running back every year he's been healthy since 2017. Make no mistake about it, Aaron Rodgers likes his running backs. These offenses feed the running back, but they've also been able to finish top 20 every year. And I think Kaleb Johnson's definitely the guy that would be in a position to finish there. Jaylen Warren's never been a top 24 running back in his career. Last year, he finished as the 38th running back on a points per game basis. And last year, Aaron Rodgers has the 2nd highest dump-off percentage in the league. A lot of those probably go to Jaylen Warren in passing downs, but I think we'll sprinkle in some Kaleb Johnson work. Pearsall had the 4th highest reception total from the running back position last year. But when there are nearly 400 to 500 running back touches available in Arthur Smith's offense, Kaleb Johnson, that bruising back, is in line to get a majority of the work. Jaylen Warren's not going to be able to sustain that kind of workload, especially in the red zone, where Kaleb Johnson, a 220-plus pound running back, profiles to be a much better goal line back than Jaylen Warren. So we pretty much know that role is secure for Kaleb Johnson. You can't really ask for much where you're getting Kaleb Johnson in draft, a guy that's going to get a bulk of the carries and a guaranteed lion's share of the red zone attempts. I think Kaleb Johnson, he is going to crush in fantasy football. My next breakout candidate, Khalil Shakir for the Buffalo Bills. Somebody's got to step up and be a wide receiver 1 in this offense for Josh Allen. I do like Keon Coleman later in drafts as well, but Khalil Shakir as the 43rd wide receiver off fantasy draft boards in a Buffalo Bills offense that projects to be top 2 in the National Football League from a scoring perspective. This is just too low for Khalil Shakir, who's improved each of the last 2 seasons. Last year, Khalil Shakir finished top 12 in target rate, so when he's on the field, he's getting target left and right. Top 20 in yards per route run, top 10 in route win rate, and oh yeah, he finished as the number 2 wide receiver in yards after the catch. So on a per route, per catch basis, Khalil Shakir is destroying his competition in the range of drafts where you're having to get him. With all these efficiency metrics, it's no surprise he's top 20 in receptions. It's not a matter of if Khalil Shakir can provide you value in fantasy drafts, it's how much value he provides where you're drafting him. The guy is just too good on a per route basis. We can see his snap share increase this season with no Amari Cooper. Khalil Shakir could end up being a high-end wide receiver 2 in fantasy, especially the fact that this Bills offense had the most rushing touchdowns in the NFL last year. James Cook goes for 18 rushing touchdowns, where the previous 2 seasons he finishes with 3 and 5 touchdowns respectively. So we can have just a little bit of regression from a rushing touchdown perspective. We could see the ball fly a little bit more in Buffalo. And I think Khalil Shakir, who's been so good on a per route basis, he projects to have a super high floor and potentially can creep into a top 12 wide receiver if he can finish in the red zone. Number 2 in yards after the catch and top 20 in yards per route run. Target rate, route win rate is just too good to keep Khalil Shakir off the field in Buffalo. Let's just keep it simple here. He's a good wide receiver in a great offense that's going to score a ton of points. He's definitely worth taking a shot at later in drafts if he can be a number 1 wide receiver in the offense, similar to what Amon-Ra St. Brown is for the Detroit Lions. But those are 5 guys I love taking in fantasy drafts that have league-winning upside in 2025. Let me know what you think of these guys. Who are your league winners that we need to be drafting? I love hearing your guys' opinions. Let me know in the comment section. Hit that like button and subscribe if you want to see more fantasy football content. That's going to do it here. We'll see you guys next week with another episode of The Fantasy Birds.